Hello, beautiful people. Welcome in. Happy Thursday to everybody. I am Mrs. Best. We are here to go over Ladies of London New Reign. This is the reboot of the original series, Ladies of London. This is season 4, episode 3, which was titled Whining in the Rain, unfortunately. But I am happy to be here, you guys. This review means that I am officially caught up with Ladies of London. I believe a new episode 4, will air tonight, March 19th. So tomorrow I will be on time and start getting the reviews out to you guys weekly. But I really appreciate the support. All of my subscribers asked me to recap this show. So I said, why not? And y'all are watching, and I appreciate the engagement because I am just a small time little YouTuber trying to get my feet into the YouTube community. But welcome in. I do encourage everybody to check the link in the description. I do a lot of lives with James as my co-host and vice versa on each other's channels. Subscribe to his channel as well as other great Black creators. The links to their channels are in the description of this video. But y'all, let's get into this episode of Ladies of London. I was genuinely like a little bit confused at first when it came to this show, but they're slowly getting it. I just wish that they would I wish that they would speed it up. It seems like they've got some people on the cast who aren't so useful as full-time cast members, but it's still so early to tell, and I like to give a pass for the first season. But we start this episode with Kimmy, Micah, and Lottie. They all meet up together to discuss the previous night and basically what happened with Dara quitting and getting exposed and telling the truth to the producers, but telling lies to everybody else. A lot of the ladies, they're saying they feel bad for Missy because Missy kind of was made out to look like she was crazy. I get why they might feel bad for Missy, but let me know if you guys feel differently. I kind of feel like though what Missy did was necessary, I did not see her motive. I understand right for right, wrong for wrong, stand up for what's right and wrong and all of that. But I'm kind of like, Missy, this had absolutely nothing to do with you. So I kind of felt like Missy threw herself into the drama by doing that. But I guess it doesn't matter if Dara quit the show and she's not interested in dealing with the friend group. Doesn't really matter. I don't think it matters. But the ladies felt bad for Missy because Dara denying everything did kind of make Missy look crazy. So they feel a little bad, but Micah exposes something that I thought was interesting. And what she exposed that was interesting was that this was not the first time that she had heard that Dara was saying negative things about her and their friendship behind her back. And in my head, I'm like, wait a minute, Micah. I agree with Mark. You're way too doggone nice. Because if I hear that someone is saying something about me once, I can understand giving it a pass. But even then, I'm a firm believer, y'all. Mrs. Best believes where there's smoke, there's fire. Rumors do not come from nowhere. If people are saying that about your friend, then your friend is likely acting away. Because I just know my friends like James, shout out to James. He also has a channel, Watch Your Mouth Reviews, subscribe. But I'm thinking of friends that I've been friends with for over 20 years, like James, Megan, Leona, Latasha. Shout out to all of y'all. Those are my besties. I love them to death. But I've never heard rumors or vice versa from them to me about us like speaking about each other negatively when we're not around. And we all did go to high school together. So it is, possible. But I just feel like where there's smoke, there's fire. People don't just go making stuff up usually. So I didn't like that Micah was acting, in my opinion, a little like oblivious to like the obvious, and she says that nobody could understand through the years why she stayed friends with Dara. But honestly, Kimmy and Lottie both told her to her face. They told Micah, listen, babe, you're too nice. And I agree. But Micah is way too nice. I understand that etiquette is your thing, but you can respectfully and etiquettely, I don't even know if that's a word, read somebody for filth or put them in their place when they check you so that they know not to treat you a certain way. So I do hope that Micah grows a backbone. But girl, you should have known better if that was the case. If that was the case, you should have known better. So the next thing we'll get into is Missy. We're going to get a little bit into her life. She is basically restarting. I like that a lot of this cast, like Missy, Martha, they're rebuilding, they're restarting. Even the ones that have it together with husbands like Margot and Micah, like they're building a life somewhere new to them. And even though they've lived the life already, when you start to have kids and go into motherhood and become a wife, like it's almost like a rebirth. So it's nice to see everybody rebuilding, if that makes sense, aside from Emma, who already just has it together. But Missy has a 2-bedroom apartment, beautiful apartment. I think they call them flats over in London. But she lives with her daughter. She does have 2 kids, which we learned when she told us about her relationships. But her son lives in Copenhagen with his father. As James always says, I don't see the problem with that. If it works for them, it works for them. But that was really all that came out of that scene. I don't like to skirt over scenes just because I feel that they weren't the most interesting. So let's keep the conversation going in the comments. Y'all, let me know how you guys felt about Missy, how you feel about her scene. Did it bore you? Were you interested? Because right now, Ladies of London for me is doing this. It's doing a lot of this. Like, there's definitely peaks and lows that I'm experiencing watching the show. There's times that I'm super entertained, and there's times I'm like, oh, y'all could have kept that. Y'all could have kept it. I also am starting to feel like this could have been 30 minutes with commercials, these episodes, but I digress. That's just me. But that's really all, you guys, for Missy. We're going to get into Martha. Oh, so Martha was a lot in this scene. Martha was a lot and Margot was a lot. They both equally kind of got on my nerves, but I also understood where both of them were kind of coming from in terms of how they handled their situation. So Martha is at her storage unit going through her things because she used to have a much larger space. She was rich. She's restarted. She can't fit everything in her apartment. So she's going through some of her things. And this is where we learned that Martha had 2 sisters. Looks like, unfortunately, both of her sisters have passed away. Very sad how one of her sisters passed. It sounds like one of her sisters did take her own life. It's just an unfortunate situation. So I could see that there's like some very deep trauma and pain that Martha is experiencing, and it kind of explains why she may have lived her life the way that she's lived it. Because Martha gives a girl who was rich and cute, who partied and modeled and used her looks till she couldn't no more. That's what she gives. But she's also very open, free-spirited, not afraid to show like what she has, who she is, and I kind of respect her for that, like that a lot. I'm curious to see how Martha will interact with the rest of the Bravo world if this does well. But Margot comes, and Martha's in an absolute frenzy at storage, just panicking, and they start to talk. And in the last episode, we learned that Martha had met a random guy at the park, random dude at the park, and was like, oh, you paint? Well, you know, this is my house. This is where I live. Here's $300. Come paint for me. Didn't check references, didn't do background checks, single woman with nothing but a bird to protect her in that doggone house. What the bird gonna do? Peck at his eyes if he come for you? Like, Martha, please be safe. I don't know why, but I like Martha a lot. But I also feel like Martha's that friend. You know how we all have that friend that just never can't quite get it all the way together? Martha gives me that friend that's always falling down and picking herself back up. But she worries me because she tells Margot that this man now has the keys to her house. And Margot's like insanely concerned, which she should be, because it's like, you don't know this person. He ain't done no work. You gave him money. Now he got the keys to your house. He could rob you. He could literally rob you. And don't think that just because Margot's American, that this is her being paranoid because we got a lot going on in America. Crime happens everywhere in every country. And trust and believe they got the same problem in the UK. So, Margot, I did understand your frustration for your friend from a place of worry. What I did not like is it was very obvious and clear that Martha was in a frenzy. I would have taken the opportunity to center my friend, get her to relax. We would have took a walk or some breaths or something. But instead, Margot's initial reaction is like, if you keep making decisions like this, then I'm going to have to take a step back from the friendship. Listen, I understand taking a step back from a friendship because you're frustrated. Hell, it could be the biggest thing. It could be the littlest thing. But before you take that step back, can you be a friend? Calm her down and then go from there. I didn't feel like these decisions were so big to step back. Maybe don't go to her house for a minute. Maybe check on her more. maybe encourage her to change her locks or to get a ring system. But to say that you're entirely going to take a step back from the friendship, I did not like that. I don't know. Margot to me gives a little bit shallow. There's something about her I still don't like. She throws unnecessary shade at people like Micah. She has an opinion about everybody. She tells us a lot about her while not telling us very much at all. And then the friends that she claims to be close to, when they need her, she's like, I might take a step back. Sometimes people make bad decisions when they're frazzled, and I just feel like your friends should be the first people to acknowledge that. That's Mrs. Best personal opinion. You know, let me know how you guys feel though, because I know that there's so many different perspectives that people get when they watch these shows. And part of why I'm giving my opinion on the internet is because I want to hear other opinions too. I definitely do. I also want to take the time out to say thank you to everybody who watches the channel, whether you subscribe or not. Even if you hear for 5 minutes, 30 seconds, it does mean a lot because I am a small creator. So any form of engagement does help me get into the algorithm. If you've been here a couple times and you like what we're doing, please consider liking the video, subscribing to the channel. I am also always open to suggestions. As you see going across the bottom of your screen, if you have a show you'd like to see me recap, whether it's on television or a platform, you can email me at MizzesB3STReviews@gmail.com. You can also feel free to send me a DM to my Instagram, TikTok, or Facebook. All of the links are on my description and bio on my channel. Tap in, tap in, tap in. But we see a sweet scene with Lottie meeting with her mom. I like Lottie. Lottie seems level-headed. She also gives me like, as an American, she gives me like, when I think of London and Brits, Lottie is what I kind of think of. Cute as a bee, cute as a button, pregnant. Her mom, loved her mom's little classic updo. I thought it was a sweet moment that she had with her. I don't really have much to add, but let me know how y'all feel about her. So we see Kimmy take her kids out. And Kimmy, I don't know if you're trying to look British. I don't know what you're trying to do. What I do know, Kimmy, is you need to let go of the lipstick. There are other colors of lipstick that you can wear. Also, if you're half Haitian, Kimmy, find some other Haitian people in London or some Black friends so they can help you with your hair, because now it's starting to make sense why Kimmy has what she has going on. But Kimmy takes her kids out and she speaks of her upbringing. We learned that her mother blamed Kimmy and her siblings for the divorce that she had from her father. And after Kimmy's mother divorced her father, Kimmy was sent to Haiti with her father to live. And this was during a time that was difficult in Haiti. Haiti's had a difficult couple of years for a while. But we learned that she didn't talk to her mother for 10 years. I found that to be interesting. And she said that that's part of the reason why she values co-parenting with the father of her kids. But I also feel like just because you maintain a good relationship with the father of your children, whether you're with him or not, you're still sending the wrong message to your kids. Let your kids know you can have kids out of love, not just convenience, because it sounds like Kimmy wanted kids, her man wanted kids, and they were together. They didn't want to be together, but they figure, why not do this together? I need the rest of this story. I feel like there's more tea to Kimmy and her ex's story. It's too peaceful, especially when she tells us that he was gone from the kid's life for the first couple of years. Like, I need more. But I do respect Kimmy for prioritizing what's best for her children over her own likes and dislikes. But I want to know if they're going to get a divorce. Are they ever going to get back together? I guess we could say this gives Kimmy a storyline if for sure do. But I'm just like, girl, what are we doing? What are we doing, Kimmy? What they say, you got to shit or get off the pot, file for divorce or not? Is there like a process you have to follow in the UK? I don't know. I know if she was still in America, she could be gone from him. She could have a legal separation and all of those things. But I have a lot of questions about Kimmy's situation. But it was interesting to hear of her upbringing. That's why I know people like to say, oh, America's a country made up of immigrants and we're diverse. Yes, we are. But I don't know why. Sometimes I feel like people in other parts of the world are more cultured. Like, it's more common in other countries to have a passport, whereas in America, not everybody has a passport. And that could be something here that's more common. So you know. But we see Micah meet with Dara, and I said, oh, I thought this heifer quit the show. I for sure, you guys thought that Dara would quit the show. But Dara is willing to meet with Micah because it looks like they had some type of a genuine friendship, which I thought, because when I saw Micah and Dara together, Dara was not like a bitch. She only seemed to be messy behind Micah's back, but to Micah's face, she seemed to enjoy her. That's everyone's worst fear in a friend too. That is everyone's worst fear, if I can't say it. Like, no one wants to deal with fakeness to that extent. Nobody. But they meet, and Micah explains her piece and how she didn't like what she was hearing and experiencing. And Dara pretty much says that it was deeply miscommunicated. I was like, girl, deeply miscommunicated in what way? What part was miscommunicated? Like, Dara's trying to just kind of write it off. She tries to spin it, saying that Missy saying stuff in front of everybody was a problem and meant to humiliate Dara. And Micah's like, okay, but this is about me. Like, things are being alleged and rumors about me, and I thought you were my friend. And Dara's like, well, things were said about me too. I'm like, wow. So you won't even humor this girl. You're going to deny, deflect, and BS. That's what you're going to do, Miss Dara. She irks my soul, y'all, in the worst way. She really, really irks my soul. Because why are you so mean? Why are you so mean, Dara? This is mean. This is extremely passive aggressive. She's extremely condescending. She was extremely nonchalant. Micah, I just want you to be done with her. Micah ends up leaving, but I want Micah to be done with Dara. Micah, you're too polite. You're not going to survive in reality TV. You're never going to become a fan favorite if you're this nice. You got to do something. Cynthia Bailey was headed out of the Housewives of Atlanta until that season. I think that was season 6 or 7, where she kicked Portia in the stomach because she was tired of her BS. Micah, you might have to do a little something. Now, don't do too much. You don't want them people who stand like that at the palace to suddenly stop standing still and arrest your ass. But you got to do something, girl. You got to do something. Because Dara is something else. She does give Wicked Witch of the West. She just does, y'all. She really does. But we're going to move forward. The group is going to go on a wine tasting. And on this wine tasting, everyone chats over lunch. They had beautiful charcuterie and food set out. And everybody shares some things about themselves and things that they've overcome, because, you know, they're trying to get to know each other on a deeper level versus just surface level, which I can understand. But I'm also a girl that's like, if we're out to lunch with a big group of girlfriends, I just want to have a good time. Maybe if I'm like with 1 or 2 of my girlfriends, I might get deeper. But with that big of a group, let's just have a good time. But they all shared some things, which did humanize them a bit. But we get to Missy. And we get to Missy, and she said that she wants to go deeper. And I was like, okay, well, maybe this is, you know, something she needs to get out. And she mentions her brother, who was shot and killed in London years back. And this happened in front of his son. She says that she does not talk about this much. And I'm like, okay, but baby, if you don't talk about it much, then why are we bringing it up at lunch? But I understand that you guys were bringing up stuff. I'm going to give Missy the benefit of the doubt and say maybe there was nothing else too deep that has happened throughout her life. And maybe that's all she had to talk about. And someone passing is something much deeper, you know? But everybody at the table ends up sharing stories about, you know, deep things. Every single person does. And I didn't see a problem with it. I felt like it was healing for some of them. And it kind of showed like the bond, the sisterhood that women can have. But Kimmy's drunk ass was annoyed. I seen Kimmy drinking and I said, oh, Lord, she's irritated. And we know Kimmy come from North Carolina. So in the South, they are good with feelings, but they also are very like, but we going to move on now. So I can understand from that perspective. But Kimmy, in my opinion, was a little bit mean about it. She kind of lacked empathy as a whole. She just did not have any. And she chooses not to share much. So everybody wraps up this beautiful little wine tasting. And yes, Mark was there, but it took them 3 hours to get there. It was traffic and British rain, and That's one of the reasons I'm not in a rush to visit the UK, because I've heard the food is bad, the weather is bad. I've heard they've got a great concert and like nightlife scene though, and fashion. But like outside of that, I heard there's not much to do. And that if I'm gonna travel across the world, I need to be entertained at every breath I breathe during the time I'm out there. That's just me. But in the car riding back home, Kimmy, Margot, and Martha are in a car together. And Kimmy makes a comment and says that when people open up the way that Missy does and did at the dinner, she says she finds it disingenuous. And I can understand why she feels like that to a certain extent, because she might feel like it was Missy stealing the spotlight or trying to make her problem bigger than everyone else's. I wish she would have just said that instead of saying that when people share things and open up, it's disingenuous, because it's not that way for every person. But with Missy, I could see why she could have thought that. However, her brother died. Where's your compassion? Where's your empathy? Where's your sense? Where's your coof? Girl, you should not be this bothered by somebody telling a story of their brother dying, even if you did feel it was disingenuous. Let it be a feeling and move on. But for it to be such a big deal that she had to talk about it, and what really pissed me off that Kimmy did was she took it a step further and she said, well, I remember the story and drugs were involved. Bitch! So what if drugs were involved? People pass away all the time for overdoses. That doesn't make their lives any less valuable. That doesn't make the deaths to the people who love them any less painful. What a heartless and sensitive thing to say. And this is coming from the American lady, of course. Because what is wrong with you? I couldn't understand it. But the episode ends with Kimmy referring to Missy's story about her brother as a sob story. I said, ooh, Kimmy, girl, you gonna regret them words. You are going to regret those words, because I feel like I may not be the only person who felt like, okay, you could feel how you feel, but like to bring up the drugs and stuff was unnecessary. You could have left it as it was disingenuous versus alluding to her brother may have deserved or walked himself or facilitated his own demise. Like, it's just so many negative ways that it can be taken. It was not a good thing to do. But episode 3, and we heating it up, is setting up for some more drama, because I was curious, where do they go without Dara? Because I do feel like Dara figured out that they were setting up for her to be like kind of the bitch or the villain of the show. But you never know. That might turn out to be Kimmy now. And I don't even think she mean to be. I think she just wants to laugh at everything. But I think it's telling, because when you look at Kimmy's story, she's ignoring issues with her children's father, including him not being a father to them for years, just so the children can have peace. I'm sure she feels a way about that. And now she's not saying much and is trying to laugh off egregious statements about the death of Missy's brother and her talking about that. So I'm just kind of like, maybe this is just how Kimmy handles difficult things. But we don't know. We gonna get to know very soon. But I appreciate anybody who is still here. If you made it this far and you watch the whole review, I appreciate you. Shout out to you at Thug Life. Shout out to all of our subscribers, especially those who have asked for the show, supported the show. I've seen support from Vibe X, Sandra, P, Gen X Extra. Check out her channel. The link is in the description of this video. Mrs. AKA, shout out to our soror sisters out there, as well as Shani, our East Coast twin, and one of my faves. So you guys ask for a show, I will happily recap it. Ladies of London airs tonight, March 19th. So I will be back tomorrow with another review of it. But other than that, I appreciate everybody for watching. I hope y'all consider liking and subscribing. As my channel grows, as I get better equipment and stuff, the content will improve. I'm trying to get more out there. But other than that, y'all, I say thank you to everybody who tuned in. And I will see you guys on my next live and or review. Adios, Thug.